It's another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of our live Saturday broadcast from InWheelTime.com. Hello, everybody, from Studio A in Texas, USA. It's the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Show. Today, inside our new car showroom, the Cadillac CT4, I hope. We'll give you an in-depth review. We've got Mr. Electricity, Richard Buzz Smith, with electric vehicle talk. You'll get this week's automotive news. Conrad's Car Clinic. We talk about the 1994 Mitsubishi Delica. What did he say? The Delica. You'll want to stay tuned for that. All just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, October 3rd, 2020. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin sitting just off camera. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday. And we're just going to get right into it with Mr. Buzz himself, Richard Buzz Smith, the EV-angelist. Richard, it is always good to see you and to hear from you. Glad you could join us today. How are things going?
Oh, things couldn't be better. Call me Buzz.
All right, we're going to do that. So, Buzz, I know that you guys have got some sort of a road trip planned, and we're going to talk about that. But we also want to talk about the EV stuff. Since the last we talked, and it wasn't that long ago, I guess 6 weeks or so, that we talked to you last, there has been a humongous a plethora of EV news in all different categories. I mean, you know, California going to ban gasoline car sales. At least try to here in the next 10, 15 years. There's that. There's all sorts of stuff going on with manufacturers out there as far as EVs are concerned. Everybody and his mother, and even builders that we've never heard of before, jumping on the EV bandwagon. But, you know, not only have I had my issues with EV charging, but apparently to confirm my fear, there's a story today.
Paranoia.
Yeah, paranoia. There's a story that came up on Automotive News, and here it is. Most EVs now being planned have hundreds of miles of rated range, more than enough for daily driving, but extended or extensive use demands ample and widespread availability of charging. And when it comes to the emerging electric vehicle market, range anxiety is evolving into charger anxiety. Most EVs now being pumped into the future product pipeline have hundreds of miles of rated range, more than enough for daily driving, but extended or extensive use demands ample and widespread availability of charging. I'm not going to bore you with all of the other stuff that goes along with it, but, you know, going on a road trip, I use the example that happened last Thanksgiving out in California and the trip between San Diego and Los Angeles. And, you know, Los Angeles, San Diego, both huge EV markets out there, especially for Tesla. And so Thanksgiving, everybody's going to L.A. from San Diego and vice versa. And there are no charging stations between the two except for one. And they had like a day's worth of cars lined up to get a charge to get the rest of the way. And that is, let's face it, going to be an issue here for a while because they're just, in the cities, not a big deal. And all of the chargers, the home chargers, that's not a big deal. But when you get on the road, that could be a big deal. Am I right?
No. No, actually, that's one of the reasons we're doing this trip. And like you said, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there's a couple of things. Like you said, the vast majority of the time, 99% of the time, you're just going to charge at home. And if you've got a 110 outlet and your daily commute is 50 miles or less, then that's all you ever need. You don't even have to go out and buy a 240-volt charger. You can go with the one that comes free with your car. Now, road trips are different. And we are at the early stages. Now, you guys may not know this, but when the automobile first came out, you bought gasoline at your drugstore. So there weren't gas stations. And yet in just a three-year period in New York City, they went from almost everybody was horse and buggy to almost everybody was automobile. That big city, yep, there's going to be more chargers when that comes around too. But that's one of the things that is being addressed by the Volkswagen Dieselgate settlement. You know, they got fined $9 billion over that. And the vast majority of that money it has to be used for EV education and charging infrastructure. And so every state got millions of dollars. Texas, I believe it's like $243 million to install chargers. So that's going on right now. Electrify America is the company that Volkswagen put together to handle that. And so they're doing a lot of charger installs, but it's also being done by private companies. So yes, absolutely. There are parts of Texas that are difficult to get to today. But if I have to go to Dallas, Fort Worth, down to Houston, there are plenty of chargers. Houston to Austin, Austin and San Antonio back up to Dallas, Fort Worth. No big deal at all.
Okay, so we got that out of the way, that I was wrong once again. All right, so listen, I'm wrong most of the time, but at any rate, I think that you got the gist of the story, that it depends really today on your route that you take. And most EV cars that I have ever been into will help you find the nearest EV station. So I think that if you plan your route accordingly, there on some back road somewhere, you might not have a charging station. Okay, so you might have to go 2 miles extra to go a different route to find a charging station. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And there's also, when you're out in public chargers, there's two types. The level 2, which is 240-volt AC charger, is going to drop about 25 miles of range into the car per hour you're plugged in. So for cross-country driving, not the best way to go.
Right.
DC fast charging, within the first 30 minutes, say on a Bolt EV, you're going to get 100 miles of range. In some of the other cars out there, you get 80%, like a Tesla Model S, I believe it's 80% of their total range, around 320 miles of range in about half an hour. So
lunch or something.
Thing is, you're going to get
while
there,
you're
but
eating lunch.
I just recently went to Estes Park, Colorado, and I thought, well, let's map this out as an EV trip from Dallas, Fort Worth. And I was going to have to go way out of my way because the Panhandle just doesn't have any chargers. I was going to have to go up north to Kansas and then cut over, and I didn't want to do that. But things are changing. And one of the things I used to tell my customers when I sold cars, and it kind of blows their mind, is if you drive 12,000 miles a year, your monthly fuel cost, which in this case is electricity in Texas, because we have really cheap electricity here, you're going to spend between $30 and $35 a month. Well, that's a huge savings over most people what they're spending on gas. So take that gasoline money. If you want to do a really long cross-country trip today, but you're just dying to have an EV, go get that EV, and then take that $200-300 a month you're saving in gasoline and sock it aside. And I guarantee you, when you go on vacation, go rent the biggest premier Suburban you can find, and you'll still be saving money in the long run and have a luxurious cross-country trip with no range anxiety.
That's a thought.
Okay.
Americans are real bad about buying what I call the 2% car. They think once a year I've got family that comes in for Christmas and I've got to haul a bunch of people around. And so they go buy a 3-row SUV for that 1 or 2 weeks out of the year.
Right.
Rent that SUV, use it for those things.
I think that's a great idea. Okay, so I'm going to play the devil's advocate here.
Nah.
Yeah.
You.
Yes, me. Okay, so for 100 miles and a DC charging station, I got to spend 30 minutes waiting for the car to recharge.
Yep.
I'm not a very patient guy where I can go and take my, let's just say, 30 mile per gallon Nissan Sentra that I reviewed earlier today that gets at least 37 miles per gallon. And I can go down to any gas station and fill that thing up. It may take me 5 minutes, as opposed to spending, 2 hours to get a full charge on an EV. How do you address that?
Well, the only time you need to do that is if you're going cross country, or if you live in an apartment and can't charge at home. Now, unfortunately, people like apartment dwellers have been left out of the electric revolution up until now. Now that we've got multiple vehicles out there with more than 250 miles of range, they can start thinking of the electric car differently. Most people like me who have electric cars and can charge at home, we think of them like our smartphone. If you're home, plug it in. Even on 110, you're going to have a full tank every day when you leave, and you don't have to ever find a gas station, stop at a gas station, or any of that stuff. But the apartment dwellers have been left out because they had no place to charge. Well, now with these chargers, especially in metropolitan areas showing up, they can start thinking of the car not like a smartphone, but like a gas car. So on your way home every day, do you top off your gas tank? Well, no. Everybody hates going to the gas station anyway, and that would be just compounding the problem. Every time I go there, I'm smelling fumes. There's some guy smoking a cigarette, and I'm thinking, oh, God, the place is going to blow up. A panhandler come up and ask me for change so he can get out of town. And then invariably, the receipt thing says, or the screen says, receipt failed to printed, see cashier inside, which just drives me crazy.
Me too.
Well, now an apartment dweller just once a week instead of once a day would go to a restaurant or a movie theater that has a charger, plug into DC fast, go watch a movie, go have dinner. By the time you come out, it's full for the next week again.
Or go to Buc-ee's, because usually when you go to Buc-ee's, you're always going to use their restroom.
And you're in there for at least an hour shopping.
Wandered around trying to buy beaver nuggets.
That's it. Okay, so hold that thought. We got more questions coming up. Stay with us. Buzz Smith, EV-angelist, on the line with us right now, and we're going to talk more with him in just a second.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Talking to Buzz Smith, the EV-angelist here on the In Wheel Time Car Show. So glad that you could join us today, and thank you, Buzz, for joining us as well. We're talking EVs, we're talking about charging stations, range anxiety, all of the above. And I don't want to be Mr. Negativity here. I'm not trying to do that.
It just comes natural.
It just comes natural. It's part of my DNA, or is that DA?
Well, I know, George Skelton said you love electric cars so much, your favorite music is AC/DC. Thanks, George.
We love George. George is a regular visitor of this show. But so, all right. So now we've got that kind of figured out. I want to talk to you about this road trip that you've got planned. Who's going? Are other people going with you, and how's that going to work out when you've only got 2 or 3 charging stations and you got 12 cars on a road trip?
Well, it'll be interesting. This is, I drive a plug-in hybrid, so I've never had to worry about range anxiety.
Well, of course, it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
So it's got a gasoline motor.
With a plug-in hybrid, it stays electric until it runs completely out of electricity. So when I'm in town, it's 100% EV for me. But when I want to do a road trip, I have no concerns. I just take a road trip. Now, I wanted to prove to people that you don't have to worry about it quite as much as everybody thinks you do. And so I was, the dealership I used to work for from time to time hires me to come out and teach new salespeople how to sell EVs. And I was out there doing some training, and then I ended up over at a GM, or Chevrolet, actually, corporate has hired me to do some training, regional training for them for EV sales. And they happened to do it as a webcast like this. And we're at a company called Swati here, Southwest ADI, which sells the accessories for all the dealerships. And, they've got kayak racks for the Bolt EV, bicycle racks, all this cool stuff. And we got talking about it, and I thought, well, people think about EVs wrong. They think about them as these econo boxes that they'll hate to drive, and it'll save them a lot of money. But as soon as they're off for the weekend, it's go get some other car to drive in. So I went back to my dealership and asked them, how about loaning me this vehicle for a 4-day weekend and put a kayak rack on it, go buy a kayak. Put a bike rack on it that'll hold at least 2 bicycles, and my wife and I will take this thing across Texas. And it kind of shocked me. The general manager there, who's been very supportive of me all through my time when I worked there, said, okay, we're going to do that. And sure enough, they bought a kayak, they bought the kayak rack, and they had this thing set up in the showroom. And for the first time, people didn't just walk by the car thinking it was another gasoline-powered small SUV. They stopped and they were looking at it and opening doors and checking it out. And so they realized, yeah, this is just a different way to approach selling the vehicle and putting it in a different light than most people anticipate. Now, I wanted to take it into a challenging area, so we're going to leave the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're going to drive to Enchanted Rock, which is 85 miles west of Austin. And my original route, yeah, I've had to make some revisions to it, but my original route took me through not major interstates, just, backcountry, farm to market type roads and state highways. And the reason I chose that route was and you guys might know how to pronounce this since y'all are good at pronunciation, Hico, Texas. I don't know if it's Hico or Hico or what.
I think it's Hico.
Hico. Okay, right outside of town, there's a country club, and they offer free charging. And if you stop there for free charging, they'll even run you into town so you can have a meal, while your car's charging, and then come pick you up and bring you back. And when I was looking at photographs of their installation, the roof has 40 solar panels on it. So this is right up my alley. I've got 32 solar panels on my roof here. So
let me guess, you own the hotel.
No. This
Okay.
is just to promote, a cool EV idea.
Yeah.
So I sent them an email, never got a response. I called them and got voicemail, left them voicemail, never got a response. And I was getting kind of freaked out because that literally was one of only 2 chargers along that route, which is a 250-mile trip. So I definitely wanted to get to Central Texas with plenty of range to get back out of Central Texas.
Or you'd be using the 2 bikes you had on the back of the car, right?
And the kayak.
What I ended up doing was I was going through their website and came across an announcement page. They're shut down for the winter. Thank God I found that out in advance. So now we're going to head down I-35, and in just north of Austin in Belmead, Texas, we're going to stop at it's one of those outlet malls.
Yeah.
And we're going to stop there.
An outlet mall. How funny.
Yeah.
It's got an outlet for his EV charger.
But we're going to stop there, have lunch, do a little bit of shopping. That'll top off the bolt, and then we'll head out to Enchanted Rock. The really cool day is the 3rd day of the trip. We're going to do a little over 250-mile circuit. We're going to hit Natural Bridge Caverns. Probably won't have time for the tour, but I've never seen even the Natural Bridge, so we'll get out and do some shooting there. We're going to go on to New Braunfels, and we're going to kayak the Comal River there in town.
Yep.
And while we're there, stop off at a Chevy dealership that has a DC fast charger and just top it off again. Then we're going to go to Jacobs Well, Hamilton Pool, which is closed, but I'm taking a drone with me. I'm hoping to do some aerial drone photography, and then back to Enchanted Rock. And it turns out we're not very far from Luckenbach when we're in Enchanted Rock. And
right.
I'm ashamed of myself. I'm a Texan that's never been to Luckenbach.
Going to go say hi to Willie and Waylon and the boys,
and
are
the
you?
boys, exactly. In fact, my theme song for this trip is On the Road Again. And I've got different lyrics for it that are EV. But anyway,
going to burn a little on the trip.
I'm hoping, hey, Willie, if you're out there listening to this, meet me in Luckenbach on the 6th. It's my wife's birthday.
So are you inviting other people to go on this with you?
My wife is going with me.
No, I'm talking about other cars, other EV cars.
I haven't yet, but if anybody wants to, come on out. I leave town on October 1st or 4th, and that's tomorrow, and get back on Wednesday night. But if you're out there near Enchanted Rock or Fredericksburg, go out there, drop me a message on Facebook. And if you want to keep track, we're going to be posting videos to Instagram, my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, and my blog from the road. And we're going to do drone photography, all kinds of really cool stuff. But keep up with us and meet us out there. We'll have big classic Chevrolet logos on the door, so you'll know it's me.
One quick question before we got to let you go because we're out of time. How much does it cost to charge a car that says, okay, we've only got 50 miles of range to go? How much does it cost to buy electricity?
Electricity varies. Many of the level 2 chargers are free. But if you're on a cross-country trip, again, you don't want to stay that long. Most of the other ones, it'll cost somewhere around $6 to $8 to completely fill up the car again. So it's like driving something that gets, 30 miles to a gallon instead of 115 miles to the gallon.
I had to ask that question.
It's not bad.
Buzz, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, you're a pleasure. Let's stay in touch. Give us
one last thing, Don.
Yes,
last thing.
All
And
right.
this is Houston focus for your guys.
All right.
Evolve Houston is a nonprofit down there that's helping push electric vehicles.
Yep.
And they have a deal for all your listeners. If you're going to test drive, I think it's a Chevy Bolt EV. I think it has to be that specific EV. They've got a deal work with all the Chevy dealers where you'll get $50 just for going and test driving.
Nice.
So get out there, get your butt in that seat.
dinner.
You'll absolutely love it.
Buzz, thanks again. Good to talk to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one, guys.
You do the
Thanks.
same. The EV-angelist. It's Buzz Smith. All right. Coming up, we're going to have a review of the Cadillac CT4. Mike Marr is going to tell you all about that and what it's like to drive one. Stay with us.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. We sure appreciate you joining us today, whether you're joining us on our live broadcast or joining us on our podcast. We thank you very much. I'll give you some podcast addresses in just a second here. Time now for our car review of the morning. Mr. Mars has the Cadillac CT4. Mr. Mars?
Yeah, I did. And I really like this car. It's a 2020 Cadillac CT4 Premium Luxury All-Wheel Drive. Now, this is an all-new compact luxury vehicle from the Cadillac team. And it comes, it's really their smallest sedan. It's actually a little smaller than a CT5, as you would think from the name. It comes in 3 trim levels, a luxury, premier luxury, and it comes in a sport. And I really like the way this vehicle looks. It had the LED headlamps up front, and that it's kind of a boomerang headlight lamp setup they've got, and it goes along with this really nice, elegant grille. To me, Cadillac's always had some really nice lines to it. Back whenever it had the big fins, it was still about all the lines, and I really liked the way this one looked. Had the intelligent beam headlights up front, had it heated side mirrors, rain-sensing wipers, and it had the high-density rear-view camera. It's a really good quality camera so that you could really see some things out back. We were rolling on some nice 18-inch alloy wheels, and I'd really like to see the sport model on this. But when we got to the interior, we were looking at some leather seating. They were heated and vented up in the front. Had the 8-inch color display. Of course, it has the Apple and Android in it. And it's the Cadillac user interface, or Cadillac user experience, excuse me. It's a CUE is what they call it. And that's where you're going to find all your convenience controls and all the other things that you need. The lighting settings, the air conditioning, etc. So, and they're also where you're going to find the Bose premium surround sound with 14 speakers inside this thing, and it will crank it up. So, and one of the things I really liked about the interior is the fact that it, to me, had a really nice interior, but some of it seemed a little cheap for what I expected from a Cadillac. To me, Cadillac is top of the line.
Some of the materials, you mean?
Some of the materials, yeah. Some places there was plastic where I thought, it'd been so much nicer if this had been Cadillac leather. Now, you get up under the hood, you got a 2.7-liter inline-4 turbo. And the 2.0 is a standard engine, so this is an optional engine, 310 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. And this is backed by a 10-speed automatic, and I thought it worked really well together, a really nice package. So the EPA says you should be looking for about 20 miles to the gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway for a combined of 23. And I did get 22 out of this. And I really liked driving it because it did have a sporty feel to it. It had to me, Cadillac just has a little different level. I guess maybe because of the time that I grew up and what I saw, the doctors, that was a doctor's vehicle and things. So I just have a different attitude towards the Cadillac, but it had very responsive steering, and it did have a sport mode that would change things a little bit, but it didn't quite go like if you got the sport trim. Now, we did have the all-wheel drive, and the sporty feel was there, but it didn't really feel like an all-wheel drive either. And so it's an entry-level luxury sports sedan is what you're going to call this vehicle if you go to look at it. And if you're going to look at something else to compete with it, maybe an Audi A3 that starts at around $33,300, or even a Genesis G70 that starts at around $35,000. But you can get a base CT4, which is the new model from Cadillac, for $32,995 starter. Now, the premium luxury CT4 that we were driving started at $37,495, and the MSRP is tested with a few options. $49,270.
That's a boost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has some stuff added to it.
When you said that $30,000 range, I thought, well,
sweet spot.
Yeah, the sweet
Yeah,
spot.
it was bumped quite a bit between the bows, the wheels, the engine.
Putting content on it, added about $12,000.
Yeah, it was a bunch. Okay. So, but it was a very nice car.
Very nice, the Cadillac CT4. Thank you, Mr. Mars. Let's check in on our national events calendar, and
Mustang Fest is going on this weekend in Corpus Christi. So if you're anywhere in the Corpus Christi area,
Mustang Fest,
head on down to Corpus and check out the national.
Well, we might have viewers in Corpus.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why if you're over there, go check.
Where
it out.
is it?
At the convention center in Corpus Christi.
Okay.
And then on the October 18th, the Dallas Truck and Jeep Fest. There's supposed to be like 2,000 vehicles there, including about 400 vendors, and that is going to be out at the racetrack. The Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals is going to be, again, in the Donald Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, Illinois, which is in the Chicago area. The October 24th is the Japanese classic car show in Long Beach. I haven't heard, what's the status on SEMA right now? Because SEMA is supposed to be November.
SEMA's canceled until 2021.
Totally
Absolutely.
Okay.
You asked that question last week.
I didn't make my notes and remind myself that it was canceled.
Well, I'm glad that I'm not the only one that has that disease.
November 8th is the Houston Exotic Auto Festival, and that's always going to be a pretty good thing, and that's going to be over in Beltway 8 and
Autoerotica.
So...
I think it's supposed to be whatever.
It's Exotic Auto Festival. The Dub show. The Dub show in Dallas, and then I believe the Los Angeles Auto Show has been.
Wait, what the hell is a Dub show?
Dub is the lowered cars with the 22s, 24, 26, 28-inch, 30-inch wheels and tires.
Okay.
The donk.
Yeah. We still haven't heard status on Houston Auto Show, have we? Did you hear from
Not yet.
Rochelle?
Rochelle is still working on that.
I think it's
so that's scheduled for the 27th through the 31st of January of 2021, and then followed shortly after that in February is the Houston RV Show. So that's the National Car Show scene.
All right, thank you, sir. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Radio, iHeart Podcast TuneIn, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, among others. In Wheel Time Car Show continues after this break.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
Do you know what teens just love? Not being told what you're supposed to love. That's not anyone's business.
Hey, thanks for checking us out. Don Armstrong saying be sure and join us live every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon Central Time on YouTube, Facebook, and InWheelTime.com. Our podcasts are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. We'll see you next time.